Namaste guys, ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Sunday, late afternoon. It might be almost evening. I think it's probably a little after 5 o'clock p.m. here in Denver, Colorado, mountain time. And it's super hot. I was outside in the sun. Jason, Namaste. I was outside in the sun, kind of sweating a little bit. Avani, Namaste. Yeah, it was just hot all around. I don't know, it's just a hot day. I'm probably going to turn on the AC, close the windows and turn on the AC. Oh, well, the windows aren't even that open. That's right, because I was expecting it to rain. It's not raining, and here we are. Sharon, Namaste. Good to have you on as always. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, you guys know we talk about 3 topics. That looked like 4 for a second. 3 topics: energy, healing, meditation, and practical spirituality. Early morning, 5:45. Shout out. Ooh. Yeah, you are getting up nice and early. The Sattvic time of the day. You got 15 minutes left from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Your local time. The Sattvic time of the day, the best time to get up and do your spiritual practice. The time that yogis have been getting up and doing their spiritual practices for thousands of years. And I thought, what topic are we going to cover today? 365 days a year, we cover a different topic or a different subject, or even a nuanced part of the subject we've already covered. And I thought this would be kind of interesting. That, have you noticed that for some people, maybe even yourself, Jose, Namaste, even for yourself, you have a hard time letting go of a falsehood. You have a hard time letting go of a non-truth. And where I came up with this idea was, I was watching on YouTube this very well-known Baptist preacher, and he kind of goes into the streets and he talks with all kinds of people. He talks with the atheists, he talks with the agnostics, he talks with the Mormons, he talks with the Jehovah's Witnesses, he talks with anybody and everybody. Nice to see you again. Marvin, Namaste. And his goal, his purpose, is to spread the gospel. His goal, his purpose is to save souls, right? And so I saw about an hour and 14-minute debate between him and a Mormon. And it was actually in Salt Lake City, which I was about a month ago. Beautiful city. I didn't have a chance to go into the temple because I'm not a Mormon and I haven't gone through the rites of passage, if you will, the year-long purification to be able to go into that building. But it would be a beautiful experience because spiritual energy is spiritual energy, regardless of where it's coming from or who it's coming from. So I watched these two go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for an hour and 14 minutes. Basically, who is God? What is the purpose of God? And is our path in life predetermined? Meaning, is everything predetermined? Who we talk to, what we run into, the studies that we do, the job that we do, the person that we marry, the kids or no kids that we have or don't have, is all of that, Natalia, Namaste, is all of that predetermined, predestined? Or do we have free will to choose whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want? Meaning, if I walk out into traffic and get hit by a car, was that predetermined? Or did I have the free will to choose whether I was going to be hit by the car or not? Ta'av, Namaste. So what I noticed is after the hour and 14 minutes of the two of these men going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, one making a point, one making a counterpoint, one getting off a topic, the other person going with that topic, and then the other person going back to their original topic, and kind of a mishmash of communication. And I realized very rarely is the other person open and receptive to having their viewpoint changed, to having their viewpoint, from them going from one viewpoint to another viewpoint, to adopt another viewpoint. And a lot of that has to do with inaccurate perception, incorrect expression. A lot of it has to do with negative pride. A lot of it has to do with the mental capacity of the person because they just might not be mentally developed in order to understand the higher teachings or higher truths of what the other person is talking about. But I thought it was really fascinating that we have these debates. We have these debates in politics, we have these debates in business, we have these debates in science, not as much in science and not as much in mathematics, because it's very straightforward. If you can prove your theorem, then it will be widely accepted. If you can prove your scientific discovery, then it will be widely accepted. But outside of the realm of science and mathematics or engineering, pretty much the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, outside of those industries that deal with math, that deal with calculations, it seems like people are unwilling to accept a truth, and they are more willing to embrace a falsehood or non-truth, because there's wiggle room. And when you have a gray area, when you have wiggle room, you can go one way or the other. 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. There's no way around it. It's an absolute. 1 + 1 is going to equal 2. And that formula allows us to build civilization. It allows us to make medicines. It allows us to make calculations to send to send robots or astronauts from America or from the world to the moon and beyond, Mars and beyond, right? So those things cannot be argued with. But when it comes to God, and Grandmaster Chola Koksui wrote a book called The Existence of God is Self-Evident, when it comes to those things, it's like there's a veil from people seeing things clearly and seeing things as they are. No one is going to argue 1 + 1 = 2. No one will say, no, 1 + 1 = 5, or 1 + 1 = -16, or 1 + 1 = apple, right? Nobody will say that, because it's against reason and logic. But for some reason, Denise, namaste, but for some reason, when it comes to changing our viewpoint, right? When it comes to changing our viewpoint, when it comes to something that is non-factual, not critically based or based in rationale or logic, we seem to go, no, that's not how it is. That's not how it is. And I always ask myself, what would it take to bring a person from where they are to where you want them to be, whether hopefully your viewpoint is more accurate than the person you're talking to, or maybe they're more convincing in their argument than you are. And so one of the best ways, one of the best ways I've noticed to build that bridge of communication from where you are and to where the other person is to ask questions. And one of the best questions I've ever heard, there was actually a YouTube video about this, and I thought it was brilliant. I've used this in my coaching practice, and I've used this in discussing with other people, but I never heard it so beautifully said and described. But when you're in the process of debating somebody, you ask the very simple question: what proof would you need to see to change your mind? Kind of blocking out my teacher. Apologies, Master. What proof would you need to see in order to change your mind? Because if the person's mind is closed, if their viewpoint is calcified and it's unchanging, it doesn't matter what proof you show that person, they are not going to change their mind. So this Baptist preacher debating a quasi-Mormon because he believed certain aspects of Mormonism and he didn't believe other aspects of Mormonism. This person was not open and receptive to the message, to the proof of this Baptist preacher. So in essence, it's just another way of saying it. It's mental masturbation. It goes around and around and around and around and around and around. At the end of the day, the Baptist preacher still holds his viewpoints unchanging, and the quasi-Mormon still holds his viewpoints unchanging, and then they walk away. What a waste, right? And I've seen that, I've seen that over and over and over again I've seen this over and over and over again, and I ask myself, well, what is the point of having the debate? Is it to, because very rarely do I see it as a person challenging their own beliefs, right? It's more of like they're trying to dig in their heels to be more solid in their beliefs, right? And so I noticed with Master Choa, the brief amount of times I've seen him interact with students over the years, is that when he would ask a question, he was open and receptive to receiving the answer from this person, because maybe this person knew something that he didn't know, that he could integrate into his new viewpoint, create a new mental framework, and then move forward more intelligently. But most people are not like that. And I think to myself, yeah, you have mentioned that before. If they replied nothing, just walk away. Correct. So if somebody says, I'm not open and receptive to changing my viewpoint, or there is no proof or evidence you could present to me that would change my viewpoint, then guess what? You just walk away. There's no point in having the conversation. The person's just going to waste your time, and it's going to frustrate you. There's an old saying that don't try to teach a pig to sing, because it frustrates you and annoys the pig, or something like that. So if somebody's not open and receptive to changing their viewpoint, there's no point in talking to them. And I said this long time ago when I used to have people on the streams who were not familiar with pranic healing or Hatha Yoga, the teachings of Grandmaster Choa Koksui, even me as the person on Facebook or on Periscope. They would throw out questions or challenges to open up a debate. Elizabeth, Atma Namaste. And then I realized these people were just looking to hook me emotionally and get into a solar plexus to solar plexus emotional vibration. It wasn't really about learning something new. Ai, Atma Namaste. It wasn't about learning something new. It wasn't about having your viewpoint change. Because think about this. It's a big, big deal to have your viewpoint changed. Your viewpoint, and we talk about this in the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, your viewpoint affects everything else in your life. It affects how you think, how you speak, how you act, how you relate to other people, how you do your work, everything. So asking somebody to change their viewpoint is a really, really big deal. And you can't just lightly do it. So you have to get somebody's buy-in. Becca, Atma Namaste. You have to get somebody's buy-in. You have to get somebody's receptivity to be open to having their viewpoint change. Because if somebody came to me, and there's levels of truth, right? You have level 1 of truth, level 2 of truth, level 3 of truth. So lowest level of truth, middle level of truth, highest level of truth. And connecting it to the world of energy healing, I've been trained in working with the 11 major chakras over the past 15 years as a pranic healing practitioner and Arhatic yogi. And this month, it might be next week, this month is my 15th year as a practicing Arhatic yoga practitioner, right? Super honored, super amazing. So many blessings, healings, invaluable teachings presented to me over the past 15 years. And part of that is I was trained in the school of 11 chakras. So most yoga schools and spiritual centers that deal with the energy body deal with the 7 major chakras. So that's the viewpoint, that's the level of truth that these schools and practitioners work within. I work with the 11 major chakras, or we work with the 11 major chakras in pranic healing. Does that mean the other school is wrong? No, it just means they're functioning from a lower level of truth. Now, what if somebody came to me and said, hey, Christian, there's more than 11 chakras. There's way, way more than 11 chakras. What would be the best thing to do for my viewpoint? Would I say, no, there's only 11 chakras, period, end of story? Or would I be open and receptive to have my viewpoint challenged and to have even my viewpoint expanded to include more than 11 chakras, right? So if somebody can prove it to me, if they can validate the existence of more than 11 chakras, then I would be open and receptive to having my viewpoint changed. Or I could simply dig in my heels and say, no, there are only 11 chakras, and that's it. So Grandmaster Choa Koksui calls that calcified ideas. calcified ideas, meaning it's a set way of thinking, feeling, and acting that gets, the energy becomes more and more compacted and more rigid the older we get. It's like a belief system, right? So for instance, if you have the belief system that you're a night owl, right? You're like, I don't start my creative juices flowing until after midnight. So that's your belief system. And somebody, Omar, I'm a mistake. Somebody could present to you all the facts, all the evidence and proof that going to bed earlier, say going to bed at 9 o'clock at night, will improve every aspect of your physical life, your hormone levels, your stress levels, your mental clarity and focus. It improves every part of your life. But if you're not open and receptive to having your viewpoint challenged and changed, then what's the point? Adriana, I'm a namaste. So have you noticed that? Really, really quite fascinating that we will hold on to a falsehood and be unwilling to change, Dean, I'm a namaste, be unwilling to change our viewpoint because we have a calcified idea of how something is or is not. So the solution to that is keeping an open, receptive, flexible mind. So energetically speaking, the throat chakra deals with knowledge. So when we sit down and we read a book, when we attend a seminar, when we listen to a podcast, our throat chakra is absorbing the knowledge that's being presented to us, and then we break down that knowledge to see if it's applicable. We take what we can, we leave what we don't need, or we change it according to our own belief systems, right? So when the throat chakra is not producing enough green energy or green prana, we become rigid in our thinking. We become rigid in our thinking. So you can use certain kinds of crystals to help with that. You can get pranic healing on your throat, cleansing and energizing it with the appropriate energies. You can do, you can spend time with people who think differently than you. You can read books that you haven't read before, right? Because there's a tendency, it's called confirmation bias. There's a tendency for us to study things that we already know, we're already familiar with, that are already in alignment with how we think, feel, and act within the world, right? So I'm going to read books on energy healing, meditation, and practical spirituality that resonate with me and that make sense to my paradigm, my belief system, my quote-unquote calcified ideas. So you have to be able to discern, okay, is what I'm being told logical, rational? Does it make sense? Is it 1 + 1 = 2? Or is this saying 1 + 1 = banana? Because 1 + 1 = banana doesn't make sense to me. 1 + 1 = 2 does make sense to me. So my encouragement to each and every one of you is keep an open mind, be receptive, and see if the information the person is providing you makes sense. Unlike the two Christians from different sects of Christianity were debating, none of them got any benefit from that debate. No, neither one of them walked away from that debate going, man, I never thought about it like that. Interesting. I'm going to research this, I'm going to research that, I'm going to change my viewpoint a little bit, partly or completely. Very rarely does that ever happen because of what we talked about earlier. Negative pride, lack of awareness, lack of understanding, lack of humility. So that's my encouragement to each and every one of you guys. And as Grandmaster Choa Koksui says, it's okay to question the teacher. Meaning it's okay to question who is presenting information to you, but you have to do it politely and respectfully, right? And so back in the day, when a bunch of people would jump onto the streams and they would question, well, what's this whole chakra thing? What's this whole twin hearts thing? Who is this Master Choa? What are you talking about? The higher soul, the incarnated soul, the divine spark? None of this stuff makes sense. It's all woo-woo, airy-fairy. It's in your head, right? when those people said those things, they're not open and receptive. But occasionally, there would be a person or two or three who would jump on and ask a intelligent, respectful, polite question, which would open the doorway for us to have a beautiful exchange of information back and forth. And you could feel that person was partially transformed. Maybe not completely, but they were partially transformed. So I encourage people to challenge the things that I share with you guys on the stream, what I share with you guys in the newsletter, what I share with clients back and forth, because my goal is not to force you to think a certain way, to speak a certain way, or to feel or act a certain way. My goal is to say, okay, you're suffering right now in some area of your life. Have you thought about doing this, this, and this? No? Are you willing to experiment? Yes. Here it is. Experiment, and then make your own conclusion. And you're like, wow. Actually, I'm going to tell you, like, wow, when I apply that, my life improves. When I don't apply it, my life goes down the drain, or it doesn't get better, right? So that's my encouragement to each and every one of you guys on this Sunday afternoon, evening, Monday morning, depending upon where we're going with all of this. But thank you very much for sharing. For those of you who are looking for healing, I started a new book last night, and I'm super excited to get back into it. For those of you who are looking for healing, go to ChristianRLong.com. It's my name. It's my website, ChristianRLong.com. Actually, also go to the website and give me your feedback. I'm looking to update my website in certain ways. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and what could be changed, because I am open and receptive to positive feedback or negative feedback to help move that part of, to make it more user-friendly, better navigation, blah, blah, blah. All those things, right? You just go down the list. Hey, I like this part of the website. I don't like this part of the website. Believe me, I am not easily offended. I used to be back in the day. Avani, update the DP there. I don't know what that means. The DP? Update the DP there. Patty, namaste. I haven't seen you on for a few days. You have to clarify that with me. I'm not sure what you mean. Thanks, Sharon. Leslie, namaste. Good to have you coming on the streams. I like the name of the website. Oh, display picture. What's the display picture? Update that. So not the one with me holding the crystal with the building in the background. You want something spicier? That's fine. I can work on that. Actually, I'm going to be updating. I have a photographer in Denver, and I'm going to take brand new pictures. So the pictures will all be updated and brand spanking new. But thank you for the feedback. Much appreciated. Yeah, you healing with the crystal. Got it. Excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you need healing? ChristianRLong.com. 15 years of experience, working with doing thousands of healings over the past 15 years, which is funny because I actually looked, I record every healing that I've done the past, every healing I've done the past 6 years, I recorded on a spreadsheet, every one of them, right? It's a way that I keep track of things, and at this point there are thousands of healings just in the past 6 years. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the latest picture, that will seem updated. Perfect. Thank you. And that's it, guys. Feel free to message me with any topics that you would like us to cover. Aha. Thanks, Leslie. Adieu, what's up? One of my older Zouk teachers. Zouk, the Brazilian couples dance style. Yeah, it's good to have you on. Hope you're doing well. Hope you and Sarah are doing well. Superb. Well over 1,000 healings. Just in the past 6 years, I think I've done over 2,000 healings, something like that. It's a lot of healings, and I don't say that with pride at all. There are people in pranic healing who have done 10, 20, 30 times that. So I'm still a little itty bitty baby compared to the more advanced senior practitioners, which is really humbling to when you think about it. It's like, wow, I need to get on the ball here. Got more healings to do. But if you guys have topics that you would like me to cover about energy healing, about meditation, about practical spirituality, right? We can go all over the place. We can cover so many topics. And I might just start whipping out some list of my own. Because usually what I do is I realize, oh, I got to do the live stream. And then I'm like, what are we going to talk about? And then I look around my apartment and then I'm like, we'll talk about this, right? So it's not like it's calculated, sat down, thought out, a beautiful outline, all these points, references, all that stuff, right? So if you guys have topics you'd like me to cover specifically, I can better prepare for them, and then we can have a really beautiful discussion. Also, here's a little nugget that I think you guys will appreciate. A client recommended that I do this, and I thought it was a good idea. So, some of you may know every Wednesday night, I do the MCKS Pranic Healing newsletter. We've been doing that for over 5 years. It goes out every Wednesday night. And somebody was suggesting, why not do a video on the newsletter the following day? So the newsletter comes out on Wednesday. We do a video on Thursday going into the newsletter, because I really appreciate the emails that I receive from you guys of like, hey, great newsletter, I liked it, this is what I got out of it. It'd be kind of cool for us to come on at the same time, talk about the newsletter, talk about a quote from Grandmaster Cho Koksui, and go do a little bit of a deeper dive into the subject matter. So that's something that a client recommended to me. I thought it was a good idea. So for the foreseeable future, Wednesdays we do the newsletter, Thursday we do a video about the newsletter. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's okay too. All feedback is good feedback. What is it? All publicity is good. All PR is good PR. Something like that. Which isn't entirely true. That's not 100% accurate. It's a level of truth. Anyways, thanks, Jose. Appreciate that. Love you guys very, very much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday/Monday morning. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you got some rest. You learned something new. You experienced something new. Maybe you made a new friend. Maybe you reconnected with an old friend. Maybe you high-fived a complete stranger at a Starbucks. Whatever the case may be, hopefully it was a good weekend for each and every one of you. And I'm over and out. I'm going to watch, do some reading, and then watch a documentary that someone has been recommending to me for, I think, 5 months now. And I'm finally in the position to sit down and watch it. Hey, you got to prioritize, right? So, love you guys very, very much. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful Sunday, a beautiful upcoming week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye.